A massive military parade tomorrow expected to bring thousands to Washington, D.C. to mark the Army's 250th birthday, which also happens to be President Trump's 79th birthday. Last-minute preparations continue today, not only in D.C., but all across the nation, with No Kings protests also planned in several major cities, including D.C. Our special Tribute to America coverage tomorrow starts at 6 Eastern. But right now, NewsNation's Libbey Dean is live for us along the parade route with more, Libbey, on what we can expect.
Nichole, we're seeing those final preparations take place ahead of Saturday's big parade that we've all been prepping for this week. And we're seeing really a frenzy of work taking place on the ground. You can likely hear some sound checks happening, as well as these Mack trucks that are being placed all along the roads of downtown D.C. to block off traffic. All of this in preparation tomorrow. And around this time tomorrow, we'll likely see those aircrafts, the 40 military aircrafts, take to the sky, be flying over the National Mall. And we're going to expect 3 different kinds of aircrafts. It's going to be the Apache, as well as the Chinook and the Black Hawk. We got a look at these yesterday on the ground. Right now, they're sitting at Joint Base Andrews before they take to the skies tomorrow. But there is this slim chance that these 40 military aircrafts never make it to the skies. That's because we're watching the weather here. And one soldier who is going to be flying one of these Apaches is saying that there is this possibility that it never makes it to the skies. Let's take a listen.
Looking at the specifics, weather changes like the weather, right? So there are certain limitations that we need to stay clear of clouds so low that you can go in the national capital region. So somewhere there's a happy medium between those two. And like I said, a decision will be made based on safety.
Aside from the show of force in the air, we're also going to see that show of military force here on the ground. 6,600 soldiers are going to be marching in this parade, and we're expecting 150 military vehicles to be rolling down the streets of D.C., some of them weighing even 70 tons. We also know that the Army is prepping for the weight of those tanks by putting in these steel plates on D.C. roads so they cause minimal damage, Nichole.
Hearing about preparations ahead of those planned No Kings protests tomorrow.
Right. There's 1,500 different protests taking place across the country tomorrow, Nichole. That is what organizers tell us. And it's all under the umbrella of this No Kings protest. And it's not happening here in D.C. We know that the base of it is in Philly. And you can see there on your screen where these protests are going to be taking place. And organizers, they're expecting this to be the largest day of anti-Trump protests since the start of his second administration. They're, of course, protesting this parade, but they're also protesting the price tag of this parade. The Army is estimating this will cost $25 million to $45 million when this all comes to a close. And that's something that some protesters are very unhappy to see American taxpayer dollars going to this military parade. Here's what President Trump had to say about these protests that are going to run counter to this parade tomorrow afternoon.
Several No Kings protests planned across the country on Saturday as well. What are your thoughts on those?
What are they called? No Kings?
No Kings.
I don't feel like a king. I have to go through hell to get stuff approved. A king would say, I'm not going to get this. A king would have never had the California mandate to even be talking to him. He wouldn't have to call up Mike Johnson and Thune and say, fellas, you got to pull this off, and after years we get it done. No, we're not a king. We're not a king at all.
Law enforcement across the country is, of course, prepping for those No King protests, but also United States Secret Service here on the ground prepping for some of the other protests that are going to surround this parade as well. We know that there are 18.5 miles of fencing surrounding this parade route. So some big preps, the final preps as we head into this parade tomorrow, Nichole.
All right. Libbey Dean live for us there in D.C. Thank you. And again, our Tribute to America, a live News Nation special, starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, hosted by Leland Vittert and Anna Koyman. It again starts at 6 Eastern.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.